you are constantly talking about a better life, people's dreams, people's goals, what they want to accomplish, the life that they want to live, you are emotionally enrolling people in the business. Why is this so important? Because today, I'm going to talk about, if not the most important, one of the most important things that a leader can ever talk about. And that is strengthening culture and building a strong culture. I want you to write this down. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Is strategy needed? Absolutely. But culture is everything. People get recruited to an opportunity, but they stay because of leadership and culture. Culture is what creates a sticky environment. Culture helps raise your organization. Culture creates the standard in which people operate by. Culture is absolutely everything. And so what I want to do is I want to go over 7 points with you here today that I think can help you elevate your culture, make it hotter, make it better, and make your business stickier. So let's talk about it. Number one, your culture will become a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of who you are. It's your personality expressed through a team. That's what your culture is. So whatever you're thinking about, whoever you are, how you treat people, your standards, the way you work, the way you execute, the integrity that you operate with, the kindness that you operate with, the discipline that you operate with, all of this becomes what gets instilled into your culture. Because if you are true north, if you are the thermostat, everybody looks at you as the governor of what is and or isn't acceptable. That's what you are. As the leader, people look at you and you are the example of what is and or isn't acceptable. So if you are showing that this is acceptable because you are doing something wrong, you just built that into your culture. If you do something that lacks integrity, you built that into your culture. If you treat people wrong, you built that into your culture. However you are and whoever you are will be what your culture becomes. So you have to be very careful of the example that you are setting because people are watching everything that you do. Even things that you don't think people notice, people notice. Even things that you don't think people pay attention to, people pay attention to. I know this because I pay attention to it. When I look at somebody that I'm being led by or I look at somebody in leadership, I notice every last detail, good and bad. I try not to allow the bad to influence the way that I look at them in any way, but I notice every last thing and your people notice every last thing with you. And so you got to ask yourself, if you're trying to build a following, if you're trying to build a sticky culture, it's going to come down to you being an incredible example. And so I remember years ago, a mentor of mine asked me, they said, Matt, is there any way you can train on building a positive culture? You have a good brotherhood, your team is loyal, everybody has each other's backs. Like, can you train on building a positive culture? And I said, of course. And so as I was prepping for the call, prepping for the training, I was having such a hard time because trying to figure out what are tangible things that we do to build culture outside of we hang out all the time. I was like, how do we build the identity of our culture? And what I realized is that the culture was just a reflection of my personality. I'm a loyal person. We built loyal people. I believe in doing the right thing. We have a culture of people that do the right thing. I work my ass off. So we have a culture of people who work really, really hard. I love leadership. So we have a culture that obsesses about leadership. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn in any capacity. But what I realized in that moment that our culture became a reflection of the way that I think. Our culture became a reflection of my personality. And it doesn't mean that everyone has the same personality as me. It does not mean that because they are their own incredible human being. But the fact of the matter is the reason they stayed around is because their personality aligned with my personality. And then their team's personality aligned with their personality. And then their team's personality aligned with their personality. And so on and so on and so on. And so you have to realize that whatever you want your culture to be, you must be. Point number 2, whatever you talk about comes about. Whatever you talk about, your culture will become. Think about this right now. If I say the color blue, what color are you thinking about? If I say truck, what are you thinking about? If I say ocean, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about whatever I said. So that means that whatever I say, you think about. Whatever you think about, you move towards. So if I'm speaking wrong things in my business, then that means that I am pointing my organization in that direction. Because whatever I say, my organization thinks about, whatever they think about, they move towards, whatever they think about or whatever I say becomes the standard. And so I got to be very careful of the words that I'm using and what it is that I'm actually talking about. So if I'm talking about growing in the 5 F's, faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun, we build an organization that tries to grow in those areas. If I talk about character all the time and integrity and doing the right thing, well, then guess what? We build a culture of people who believe in that. If I talk about high standards, if I talk about having a work ethic, if I talk about treating people right, if I talk about respect, if I talk about discipline, if I talk about being an example, whatever I talk about, the culture will become. If I am negative, my culture will become a negative culture. If I complain a lot, my culture will become an organization that complains a lot. If I'm super positive, my culture will become an organization that is positive. If I'm real, then my culture will become an organization that is real. Your culture will become whatever you talk about. So it will first become your personality. It will second become whatever you say. Because if I say something and you like it, you stay. If I say something you don't like it, you leave. That means the only people that stay in our organization are the ones that agree with the words that I speak on a daily basis. So if you're speaking the right things, you will attract the right people, and that will breed a strong culture. Number 3, you must emotionally enroll people every single day. If you want to build a strong culture, it's going to come down to how committed your people are. People only give commitment to something they truly believe in, which means as a leader, you need to be talking once again about the right things, talking about helping people, contribution, making a difference, contributing to the lives of other people, living a life that mattered, living a life that made a difference, living a life that didn't go forgotten because of the difference that you made. If you are talking about these things, your culture becomes that, and you enroll people in the mission. The second thing that you got to be talking about or emotionally enroll people in is a better life. People come into your business because they're trying to accomplish a better life. That's why they're here. They want a better life for their kids. They want a better life for their marriage. They want a better, more peaceful life. And so if you are constantly selling the dream of a better life, you are enrolling people emotionally, because people have an emotional attachment to creating a better life for their family. People have an emotional attachment to their dreams, to their goals, and what they want to accomplish. And so if you are constantly talking about a better life, people's dreams, people's goals, what they want to accomplish, the life that they want to live, you are emotionally enrolling people in the business. Why is this so important? Because motivation is an emotion that is felt. And so when people are emotionally enrolled in the business, that means that they are feeling motivated about the business. People who are motivated are more likely to take action than people who are unmotivated. This is why it's so important to constantly emotionally enroll people in the things that people want. And then last but not least, on this topic of emotionally enrolling people, significance. Putting your last name on your back, making your last name mean something, building a legacy, living a life that didn't get forgotten because of the difference that you made, contributing to the lives of other people. Kind of goes back to the better life, but it's coming full circle, and you're becoming a significant person because of the significance that you had in the lives of other people. People want to be significant. People want to be noticed. People don't want to go unnoticed. In fact, people feel horrible when they are unnoticed, when they feel like they're deserving of being noticed. And so it's your ability to say, hey, you have the opportunity to be significant, is enrolling people emotionally. A lot of times people grow up where they were never noticed. People grow up in an environment where they never got appreciation. People grow up in environments where they never got recognition when they did something right. They only got recognition when they did something wrong. And so when you're able to celebrate people and the things that they do right, it builds an incredible culture. And what you celebrate reaffirms the culture, which creates an even stronger culture. Number 4, you must inject energy into your business every day. If you want to build a strong culture, inject energy into your business. This is what I know. If I send you a message, you're thinking about the business. If I send you positivity, you're thinking about the business. If you see my name pop up in any way, you were thinking about the business, and you were thinking about what you should be doing. And so for me, I over communicate. I would rather over communicate than under communicate. So in all of our chats, I am sending out messages all day long, because I know that every time my name pops up on someone's screen, they're thinking about the business. And if they're thinking about the business, they're more likely to move the business in a positive direction. If I'm putting out positive videos, people get the video, it's positive, it makes them feel positive about the business. Once again, adds to culture. As a leader, you have to inject energy into your business every day. And so a question that you have to ask yourself is, on a daily basis, how much fuel am I dumping in the fire? If my business is a fire Am I dumping fuel into that fire every day to make the fire bigger? Because your goal as a leader is to create such a hot environment, such a large fire that nobody can put it out even if they wanted to, because of how large and how hot that fire is burning. That comes down to you as the leader injecting energy on a daily basis. Number 5, creating a winning culture. Well, Matt, everything that you just said kind of contributes to a winning culture. True. But there's a lot of times where you might have those things and you're talking about being behind all the time. Nobody wants to be a part of a team that's behind. Everybody wants to be a part of a team that is winning. People want to be a part of a dynasty organization. And so if your organization does not feel like a dynasty organization because you're not talking about winning, you're not talking about how all the championships that you guys have accomplished together, you're not talking about where you're going, how you're going to do something that's never been done before. If you're not talking about winning, people are not going to think that there's people winning. If you're not celebrating those who are winning, people are going to doubt whether or not they can win. If you want to build a winning culture, talk about everybody who's winning. If you want to build a winning culture, talk about how your organization is winning. If you want to build a culture where people have momentum, talk about how much momentum your organization has. And I'll be transparent. There's been a lot of times in my career where we didn't have momentum in our business and we weren't winning. But do you know what I talked about? How much we were winning. Do you know what I talked about? How we had momentum. Do you know what I talked about? Where we were going. Do you know what I talked about? The things that we were doing right. Do you know what I talked about? The difference that we were making. I made everyone feel like we were winning even when we weren't, because I knew that people want to be a part of a winning culture and not a losing culture. So if you talk the language of losing, people feel like losers and they will exit your business. But if you talk the language of winning and how you are a winning team, people want to be a part of a winning team and they will stay simply because of the fact that everybody their entire life has always wanted to be on a winning team. That's it. That's why most people in this world have dreamt of being a professional athlete, because they just wanted to know what it's like to win. Why do you think people watch the World Cup? Why do you think people watch the Super Bowl? More people watch the Super Bowl than they watch all the season games. Why? Because they just want to feel a part of something that's winning. And it's crazy to think about. But now it's your ability to cultivate that in your organization that will determine whether or not people want to stay in your organization. Number 6, respect. 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 You get what you give. So if you give respect to your people, you will get respect from your people. If you treat people with honor, they will treat you with honor. You get what you give. Give respect every single day, and also earn the respect of your people every day. I think one of the big mistakes that people make in leadership is that they believe because they have a title, because they have a cash flow, because they have experience, because they have the authority, that everybody should earn their respect on a daily basis. And that is the lowest level of leadership, in my opinion. In my opinion, a great leader wakes up every day and thinks to themselves, how do I earn the respect of my people? How do I earn the respect of my people? When I wake up every day, the thought that goes to my mind is, how do I earn the respect of my people? Based off who I am, the way I treat people, the way I show up, the way I come alongside our organization, my goal is to earn the respect of our people. And I know that if you do that with your organization, where you wake up not assuming that people should fight for your respect, but you should fight for their respect, watch the difference that you'll start to see in your culture and the level of respect that there is. And then last but not least, point number 7 of building a hot culture is recognition. Recognition, recognition, recognition. Recognize what you want more of. Instead of highlighting everyone doing something wrong, highlight everyone that's doing something right, and it will make everyone that's doing something wrong want to be like the people that are doing something right. Whatever you recognize, you get more of. What recognition also does is it drives performance. Why? Competition. Competition. Every person that's competitive has their butt burning when someone else, when one of their peers is getting recognition that they want. So if somebody's being recognized for being the number one producer, or somebody's being recognized for being the number one recruiter or builder or most loyal or whatever it might be, whatever you are recognizing, people want to have also. And so if you are recognizing something, people will say, you know what? I want that so bad. You'll light a fire under their butt and it will help drive performance moving forward. So if you can build a culture of recognition, naturally you build a culture of competition. And when you build a culture of competition, competition drives performance. Combative divides organizations. Competition builds organizations. Let me say that one more time. Combativeness divides organization. Competition builds organizations. Through recognition and recognizing people in a positive light and in a positive way, you can build competition, and that's going to lead to an increase of performance and an even hotter culture. So the more you celebrate people, the more they will want to do things that lead to being celebrated. If you can build recognition into your culture, it will elevate it. So with that being said, guys, I went over 7 points today that will help you build a hotter culture. Every leader in every organization needs to hear the message that I just went over with you all today. If you learned something from today, if you got something out of today, do me a favor, subscribe, tell a friend to subscribe, and let's get more people subscribed to this channel, because the more people that listen in, the bigger difference that we're gonna make, the more lives that we're gonna change, and the more leaders that we're gonna develop, which is what we're all about in the Leaders Only podcast. See you guys next week. Talk to you soon.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.